not so. So we're here in Zurich at the NOAA conference where startups and investors are sort of coming together and hopefully sort of getting married a little bit, or forming a deep, meaningful relationship in terms of mutual benefit, hopefully for themselves, but also for sustainability and our precious climate and environment. I have a new guest with me here. If you could say who you are and where you're from, who you're representing.
Sure, yeah, thanks so much for having me. I'm Dominic, I'm one of the co-founders of Amplify, and we are a company that helps consumer brands accelerate a circular economy.
Okay, so if you can be a little bit more specific then, what solution are you showcasing here at NOAA? And how does it work? What does it do? What do you want to achieve?
Sure. The circular economy as a concept has been around for a while now, but especially in the concept of plastics, we see that there is a massive data gap, which means that decision makers working for consumer brands face real difficulties today because they don't really know how to manage what they don't measure. So what we introduce is a plastic management and accounting platform that helps decision makers at consumer brands get an understanding of the plastic waste generation that they have in their supply chain, then use this information to identify improvements that they can make. And also, we connect them to solution providers who can help them implement these initiatives. And lastly, we also come in and help the brands communicate because it is increasingly important to engage with consumers, investors, and also policymakers that are increasingly calling for plastic action.
Yeah. I mean, plastic in the last, 10, 15 years has become such a kind of iconic issue that seems to bring everybody together. It seems so absurd to see the fact that, by some numbers, at a certain point, not too far from now, there might be more plastic in the ocean than fish, and that's also a problem with overfishing as well. But and of course, the whole microplastics. I mean, even just ordinary people on the street seem to know that this is an issue, which is amazing. I was going to say that the solutions are there, but it's either there aren't enough solutions and they're not being efficiently deployed in a sense. What if you model what you're doing and you're dealing with the brands? How much have you thought about how much you might be able to cut their plastic problem and thus benefit everybody?
Yeah, sure. It's an interesting question because I do think the plastic space is going to be very different to the carbon space, where we basically see net zero claims being set for 2030, 2050, where the new standards that have been established really require brands to reduce emissions for up to 90% before they can think about carbon removal. Yep. In the plastic space, it's going to be relatively difficult because, in our opinion, the consumer brands that are using plastics today are not evil. They're not doing this to be mean to the planet. Mm-hmm. They're really doing it because it's the most accessible and the most versatile material that they have as of today, which doesn't mean that everything is perfect what they're doing. So I think when it comes to solutions, the real problem is that we burnt down the tracks that sort of connects the plastic industry with the solutions. And what we do is that we come back and we lay the tracks so that we make the transition more seamless. Now, in terms of really actionable initiatives that brands can take, we think about it in 3 different ways. The first one is that we help them identify opportunities to reduce plastics wherever it makes sense. Mm-hmm. The second is that for all the residual plastics that are needed in the value chain, we help them optimize them by choosing better designs, by sourcing increasing proportions of recycled content. And then lastly, we obviously want them to amplify their impact. And that's why we enable them to invest in systems change by deploying finance, but also by using their voice and spreading the word about the importance of accelerating circular action.
Mm-hmm. So where are you at your journey right now? So has the company started and you're here to raise money to expand your operations, your horizons? Tell me where you are on this journey.
Sure. So we spent the first 5 months focusing on product development and interviewing many different brands to get an understanding of the pain points. Mm-hmm. And we fully launched our platform about a month ago. Okay. And are working with a handful of clients right now, really helping them to make a change and really helping them to identify opportunities that are actionable as of today. Mm-hmm. So what we're doing at NOAA is really to understand like what other opportunities we have to grow the business, which can be related to partnerships, strategic partnerships that we build, but also getting in touch with potential investors who can help us accelerate the growth of our company. Because for us, growing the company is by definition related to growing the positive impact that we create.
Right. Very exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, super excited.
Cool. So we're passionate about plastic, and we're passionate about getting plastic out of the environment and on using it more sensibly and sustainably. Because you're quite right, it is one of the problems is in the sense that it is a remarkable product. But we're also passionate about this number here, which you might see on the screen. Yeah. Now that eye-watering sum of money is the amount of money that the governments have spent on subsidizing fossil fuels since the beginning of COP26 in Glasgow. So that was literally 3.5, 4 weeks ago. We're asking this of everybody, but could you do a lot more with your business if you had even a small chunk of that? In other words, couldn't startups be better supported by governments than maybe the oil industry, which doesn't sound like a startup to me? I think it's been around for a while. It should be able to stand on its own 2 feet. How we spend money in the world is going to be very important to the transition.
Absolutely. So I'm a big sort of advocate for doing what you want to do, and I believe that money is definitely an enabler. So in my opinion, like if these subsidies were used in a better way, that would make a tremendous amount of sense and also accelerate the solutions that will actually be needed for the decades to come. Which doesn't mean that all the money should be like taken away, but I think we should also help the existing industries transition to a more circular and sustainable economy by eventually partnering and joining forces with startups and with other innovators in the world to really make sure that we bring this on track. Because at the moment we're clearly off, also looking at this insane number.
Yeah, and it's also about leveling playing fields as well between different choices. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Well, congratulations on what you've achieved. I mean, you've just started, right? The company launched effectively a month ago. Well done. And I hope it all works out at NOAA, whatever you want to achieve here, and great success into the future.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
All right.